Hi guys. Um, I have an hour to get ready for work, but I still wanted to read some of Genesis. So we are going to do this while I get ready for work and do my makeup. My sinuses are so bad this morning. So bad. So we ended in Genesis 37. We'll go over Joseph's profile and his strengths and accomplishments and weaknesses, and vital statistics, and all of that good nonsense. Sorry guys, I was like an hour to get this done. So you are coming on the journey with me. I should have just got all of this ready and out before I started this. We're not going to talk about that. Uh-oh. See that little brown spot? You know, I got that from sun tanning in like a tanning booth bed like 4 years ago. Never been in one since. Completely ruined my skin. Crushed up crackers, anyone? I literally have everything in my purse. It's kind of ridiculous. Okay, so Joseph. I can get this out. Oh my gosh, it came out a lot. As a youngster, Joseph was overconfident. His natural self-assurance increased by being Jacob's favorite and by knowing that God's design on his life was unbearable. To his 10 older brothers who eventually conspired against him, but this was self-insurance. Okay, that is just my primer. Sorry, this word Genesis is going to be a little broken up because I am multitasking. Okay, so they eventually conspired against him. They eventually conspired against him, but with self-assurance, molded by pain and combined personal knowledge of God, allowed him to survive and prosper where most would have failed. He added quiet wisdom to his confidence and won the hearts of everyone he met. Potiphar, the warden, excuse me, other prisoners, the Pharaoh, and after years, even those 10 brothers. Perhaps you can identify with one or more of these hardships. Joseph's experienced. He was betrayed and deserted by his family. He was exposed to sexual temptation and punished for doing the right thing. He endured a long imprisonment and was forgotten by those he helped. As you read his story, note that Joseph did in each case. His positive response transformed each setback to a step forward. He didn't spend much time asking why. His approach was, what shall I do now? Those who met Joseph were aware that wherever he went, sorry, I feel like I got like a hair on my nose. Wherever he went, whatever he did, God was with him. When you're facing a setback, the beginning of a Joseph-like attitude is acknowledge that God is with you. There is nothing like his presence instead of a new dark situation. And I can agree with that too, because your attitude makes all the difference in the world. You know, for example, if I got into an argument with someone and I just, they came at me and I just got heated right back, is that de-escalating the situation? Or is that escalating the situation? And what are people going to do if you come at them with kindness instead of lowering yourselves to their standards, you know? Stop it. Okay, so what were the strengths and accomplishments of Joseph? He rose in power from slave to ruler of Egypt, was known for his personal integrity, was a man of spirituality, prepared a nation to survive a famine, which I was watching a documentary the other day, and archaeologists actually proved, hello, how are you? Proved that there were actually, what are they called? Starts with an S. Systems? Oh my gosh, I cannot think this morning. Where you like hold the feed and stuff. Like where you would hold extra food. Where you like hold the feed and stuff. Like where you would hold extra food. I just funny because it literally talks about in the Bible that David helped with the famine by harvesting all this and holding all this food, and why Egypt hold that much food, and then there was famine after that. Waiting on your wife to get home. Hopefully she gets home soon. I'm like trying to read Genesis as I put my makeup on because I have work in like an hour. I'm not doing well, guys. Not doing well. I probably shouldn't even be doing this live, but we doing this together. We doing this together. I gotta put my face on. I don't want to scare my customers. Yeah, I live in the middle of nowhere, so if you guys lose me, I am sorry. Thank y'all. We know if we are back. My service probably sucks. Did you drop your phone in the water? That could have been bad, guys. Okay, so what was his weaknesses and mistakes? His youthful pride caused friction with his brothers. Lessons from his life. What matters is not so much the events or circumstances of life, but the response to them. With God's help, any situation can be used for good, even when others intend it for evil. Vital statistics. Where? Canaan. Egypt. Occupation: shepherd, slave, convict, ruler. Relatives: parents, Jacob and Rachel. 11 brothers, 1 sister named in the Bible. Wife, Asnath. Sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. Key verse. So Pharaoh asked them, "Can we find anyone like this man, one in whom is the Spirit of God?" Genesis 41:38, which we're not there yet. Joseph's story is told in Genesis 30 through 50. He's also mentioned in Hebrews 11:22. And like I mentioned in my last live when we started this, because I started chapter 1, when I ended, I love this story because I went and seen Joseph in the Technicolor Dreamcoat when I was younger, and it changed my life. Oh, okay. You're washing your face. Sorry. Okay, what do I want to do now? What color eyeshadow should I use? Should we go green, pink, gold? What are we feeling today, people? Purple? Oh no. I don't know what I want to do. I like these colors. My daughter gave me this Hello Kitty eyeshadow palette. Yes, I am engaged and been with the same man for almost 13 years. So yes, I'm very much taken. What color? I feel like those will fade. I guess you can't ever go wrong with some pink, huh? Yeah, I'm used to it. I'm not that popular. So I'm like trying to read Genesis, but I'm also trying to put my makeup on and get ready for work. So this is going to be a process, guys. I apologize. Yeah, I use my fingers. I'm an artist. I prefer it that way. It's kind of, it makes it feel like a, I don't know, palette. Like a canvas. Live canvas, guys. Just saying. I feel like I need something sparkly. Okay. So, excuse me. I did. I'm lagging? Really? Well, I'm sorry. It's probably the storm here. Or the wind, I mean. Okay, so 38. Judah and Tamar. At that time, Judah left his brothers and went down to stay with a man of Aldom named Hira. There, Judah met the daughter of a Canaanite man named Shu. He married her and made love to her. She became pregnant and gave birth to a son who named It's a weird name. She convinced She conceived again and gave birth to a son and named him Onan. She gave birth still to another son and named him Shelah. That's kind of cool. It was a Kizib that she gave birth to him. Judah got a wife for his firstborn, and her name was Tamar. And Judah's firstborn, was wicked in the Lord's sight, so the Lord put him to death. Oh, that's not good. Then Judah said to Onan, "Sleep with your brother's wife and fulfill your duty to her as your brother-in-law, and to raise up offspring for your brother," which was tradition in that time, that if a woman's husband died, she was to marry the next single brother to keep the name in the line, especially if they didn't have a heir. I can't think this morning. The law about marrying a widow... I just said this. Okay. 38, 8 through 10. The law about marrying a widow in the family is explained in Deuteronomy 25, 5 through 10. Its purpose was to ensure that a childless widow would have a son who would receive her late husband's inheritance and who in turn would care for her. Because Judah's son, Tamar's husband, had no children, there was no family line through which the inheritance and blessings the covenant could continue. God killed Onan because he refused to fill his obligation to his brother and to Tamar. Rude. Okay, next up. I needed sparklies. I want sparklies, guys. Sparkles. Little sparkle. Little sparkle in there. We ain't gonna go crazy. Just a little sparkle. Hi guys. Just trying to read Genesis and put on my makeup at the same time because I have work. I'm getting picked up in an hour and these people are always early. They say you could wait, but I always get nervous they're going to drive off. And I cannot be late for work. I'll be very upset about that. Alright, so we're just going to do that nice and simple. Where's my mascara? Okay. So Judah then said to his daughter-in-law Tamar, "Live as a widow in your father's house. Hold until my son Shelah grows up," for he thought, "He may die too, just like his brothers." So Tamar went to live in her father's household. After a long time, Judah's wife, the daughter of Shod, died. When Judah had recovered from his grief, he went up to Timnah, to the men who were shearing his sheep, and his friend Hira and Almite went with him. When Tamar was told, "Your father-in-law is on his way to Timnah to shear his sheep," she took off her widow's clothes, covered herself with a veil to disguise herself, and then sat down in the entrance of Enem, which is on the road to Timnah. For she saw that though Shelah had grown up, she had not given to him as his wife. When Judah saw her, he thought she was a prostitute, for she had covered her face. Not realizing she was his daughter-in-law, he went over to her by the roadside and said, "Come now, let me sleep with you." "And what will you give me to sleep with you?" she asked. "I will send you a young goat from my flock," he said. "Will you give me something as a pledge until you send it?" she said. He said, "What pledge should I give?" "Your seal and its cord and the staff in your hand," she answered. So he gave them to her and slept with her, and she became pregnant by him. After she left, she took off her veil and put on her widow's clothes again. Meanwhile, Judah sent the young goat by his friend the Aldamite in order to get his pledge back from the woman, but he did not find her. He asked the men who lived there, "Where is the shrine prostitute who was beside the road in Enam?" "There hasn't been any shrine prostitutes here," they said. So he went back to Judah and said, "I didn't find her. Besides, the men who lived there said there hasn't been any shrine prostitutes there." Then Judah said, "Let her keep what she has, or we will become a laughingstock. After all, I did send her this young goat, but you didn't find her." About 3 months later, Judah was told, "Your daughter-in-law Tamar is guilty of prostitution and as a result is now pregnant." Judah said, "Bring her out and have her burned to death." As she was being brought out, she sent a message to her father-in-law. "I am pregnant by the man who owns these," she said. And she added, "See if you recognize whose seal and cord and staff these are." Judah recognized them and said, "She is more righteous than I, since I wouldn't give her to my son Shelah, and he did not sleep with her again." When the time came for her to give birth, there were twin boys in her womb. As she was giving birth, one of them put out his hand, so the midwife took a scarlet thread and tied it on the wrist and said, "This one came out first." But when he drew back his hand, his brother came out, and she said, "So this is how you have broken out." And he was named Perez. And then his brother, who was the scarlet thread on his wrist, came out, and he was named Zerah. That's funny. These to tie. These to tie ribbons on the wrist. That's funny. Okay. Next. I'm sure when they do like those like makeup tutorials, they like speed through this part. But y'all just gonna have to deal with it. I'm just saying. Bible and makeup, guys. This is so funny. He wouldn't marry her to anyone else. So she changed up her look and tricked him into sleeping with her. And then he's like, "She was a prostitute and she got pregnant. We have to kill her," until he finds out it's his baby. Or I should say babies, because it ends up being twins. My mascara is annoying me. It keeps clumping. Beautiful. Oops. Ups. I'm in a boo-boo. Okay. I literally just knocked my book off my couch. We're not gonna talk about that. Okay. Got my eyeshadow on, got my hair on, gotta put my blush on. Alright, what blush do I want? Are we gonna go dark today? Some like rouge. Okay. Sorry. ADHD. Let's see. 38:15 to 23 in Genesis. It may seem strange that prostitution is written about in such a matter-of-fact way. Prostitutes were common in pagan cultures such as Canaan. Public prostitution served Canaanite goddesses and were common elements of religious cults. Fornication was encouraged to improve fertility in crops and flocks. Public prostitution were more highly respected than private prostitution. Private prostitutes, who were sometimes punished when caught. Tamar was driven to seduce Judah because of her intense desire to have children and to be the matriarch of Judah's oldest line. Judah was driven by his lust. Neither case was justified. I would say. Okay, so we're gonna get dark. Yes, I use my hands. I don't like brushes. Judge me. I don't care. Hi, guys. Like, share, all that good stuff helps out a lot. In 38:15 through 24 in Genesis, why was Judah so open about his relationship with prostitute, yet ready to execute his daughter-in-law for being one? To understand this apparent contradiction, we must understand the place of women in Canaan. A woman's most important function was bearing children who would perpetuate the family line. To assure that children belonged to the husband, the bride was expected to be a virgin, and the wife was expected to have relations only with him. If a wife committed adultery, she could be executed. Some women, however, did not belong to families. They might serve a shrine prostitute supported by offerings or common prostitutes supported by the man who used their services. Though children were nobody's heirs, and men who hired them adulterated no one's bloodline. Judah saw no harm in hiring a prostitute for a night. After all, he was more than willing to pay. He was ready to execute Tamar, however, because she was pregnant as a result of prostitution. His grandchild would not be part of his family line. Apparently, the question of sexual morality never entered Judah's mind. His concern was for keeping his inheritance in the family. Ironically, it was Tamar, not Judah, who acted to provide him with legal heirs. By seducing him, she acted more in the spirit of the law than he did when he refused to send his third son to her. This event in no way implies that God thinks lightly of prostitution. Throughout Scripture, prostitution is condemned as serious sin. If the story has a moral, it is the faithfulness to family obligations is important. Incidentally, Judah and Tamar are direct ancestors of Jesus Christ. See Matthew 1:1-6. 38:18. This identification seal was used to authenticate legal documents, usually a unique design carved in stone and worn on a ring or necklace inseparable from its owner. The seal was used by the wealthy and powerful to mark clay or wax. Because Tamar had Judah's seal, she could prove beyond a doubt that he had been with her. In 38:24-26, when Tamar revealed she was pregnant, Judah, who unknowingly had gotten her pregnant, moved to have her killed. Judah had concealed his own sin, yet he came down harshly on Tamar. Often sins we are trying to cover up are the ones that anger us the most when we see them in others. If you become indigent at the sins of others, you may have similar tendencies to sin that you don't wish to face. When we admit our sins and ask God to forgive us, forgiving others becomes easier. Oh. Next. Elena. Eyes are like watering. Oh, I'm running out of time. Got dark in my eyebrows because I'm getting old and they're starting to fade. Don't get old, people. Hello. Just drawing on some eyebrows. That's I'm just gonna read the one chapter today because I still gotta get dressed. But thank you for staying with me while we did makeup and Bible study. Have a good day, guys. Bye.